Hi, and welcome to another edition of The Seven Show. All right, so this is my second part of the video of my 47-part series on existential dread of shoes that don't fit. No. I, I, I'm going to say right now, I've been up here for a long time. I've been trying to do multiple takes, or I've had to do multiple takes because I'm just been a mush mouth. So I'm getting a little goofy. All right, so the first video was about using a reference mic and you wave it around the air like a buffoon and you take a measurement of your monitors and get a kind of a frequency response, and it's a much better technique than doing 100 stationary shots with a sweep. I quite like doing it. I think I'm going to do that from now on. Quick and easy and reproducible, which is awesome. So we've got that information now. Now we have to absorb that information into our EQ device. And so this is about MiniDSP, which is a little device. I introduced it in the first video. It's a little device that has an input and then some outputs, and you can apply crossovers to it. You can adjust the EQ. You can do these EQ profiles. You can adjust the levels, and a lot of people use them for subwoofers. You can use them in home theater type environments to set your front and rear speakers and set the volumes and things. So it's pretty cool. I thought I'd give it a try in here. So this video is going to be on making our EQ profile that we want to apply to the speakers, and we'll apply it, and then we'll wave this mic around again and see if we actually have a flatter response. So good enough intro. Let's go take a look. Okay, let's go back into Room EQ Wizard, and we're going to take the graph that we just took of us waving the mic around, and we're going to make an EQ file of that, and we're going to throw it into MiniDSP to adjust our curve. So in Room EQ Wizard, the first thing you want to do is you want to go to File, Export, set your comma delimiter to comma. I think it defaults to space, maybe? I don't know, but that's what we need so that the MiniDSP can read the file. On our left-hand side here, select the file that the measurement that you want to use, and we're going to use this left speaker movie mic, the second one that we did. We could do the first one of whatever. We'll just do the second one. So make sure that this is highlighted, and then go into EQ. This is our left speaker move number 2. That's this guy right here. Bleep, bloop. And then this is going to be, this blue line is going to be our target. And then this is predicted of, and that's the only one we're looking at right now. So this can output for a bunch of different types of devices. Right now it's set for generic. And how these are going to look when you turn it on are going to be a little bit different, but we'll select MiniDSP, and then we can close that. So here's our target settings. So right now it's giving us this kind of crossover setting because it's set for subwoofer. If we set it for full range, it would look like this, and it looks like it drops off a bit on the end. Kali speakers are bass limited because they don't have a big woofer to cover some of these really super lows. So that changes our target to have this kind of cut off here at 80. So the first thing we want to do is I want to set our target level decibel. So if we can zoom in on this, we want to set our target level to be sort of right in the middle. We want to lower these. We don't want to raise it. We don't want to raise these up. So let's use this as sort of our target level, and we will lower this stuff. And we're going to have to raise this up. So that's our target level at 78.5. So let's set our target level here to 78.5. You can see that slides up. Oop, too far. Right there. Great. Let's get rid of this guy. This is our high frequency We can just turn that off with our slope. So just nuke that because we want that nice and flat. Now we want to slide this down. So right now the cutoff starts at 80. So let's just slide that guy down to about there because we want to try and match this. That's probably pretty good right about there. So cutoff is at 35 right here. The rise starts at 92. You can see it right, little bump right there. Ends at 40 down here. So we have a little bit of drop off here. We've turned off the highs. Our target is 78.5. Great. All right. Filter task, mass range. We want 40 to 20. That's, yeah, we can change this at 35, I guess, to match our cutoff up here. We're not going to get anything out of that. 40 is probably fine, but we'll do that. Individual max boost. That is for how high we want to bump things up. Flatness target, 3 decibels. I think that's where I found was the best. I want to raise this part up. So I'm going to do that manually with the EQ filter. I'm going to select 6 because it starts down here. It'll make them 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. So we'll start at 6. And this is 13. So we'll do this as manual. We'll do this as a peak. Take this up to 15. And you can see as I move this up, you can see that start to rise. And then this is our Q range. So if we bring this out, let's bring this to 2. There we go. We can drop this down a little bit. Oh, maybe up a little bit. That's too high. If we change that to 1, that's a little bit wider. Too wide. 3. That's pretty good. Okay. Maybe we can take this up. Where's that look? There, that's a little bit flatter. Can we take it up a little bit more? There we go. I think that's pretty good. So you can manually set these, like we could manually go in and adjust this, but we'll save that. So that will be saved. Bloop. And then we can do match response to target. And what that's going to do is it's going to take everything that we've got set here, and it's going to try to figure out the best 5 other EQ settings to sort of bring this into control. So let's match response to target. Actually, I guess we can save what we've got now. Left, move, 2. EQ. Save. Okay. So now that's in case we screw something up, we can go back to it. Match response to target. And what did that give us? Auto peaks. There's our manual peak that we made. For some reason it moved it to number 2. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I actually have 6 slots on this, but that's okay. So I would like to see this a little bit smoother. Let's see if we can kind of deal with that. This is our original measurement, and we've kind of evened it out. I have 6 slots for the MiniDSP, so we'll do one. We'll do a manual one, and this is about 800. So let's finagle this around and see if we can come up with, let's take this down to 3. That's not good. If we do, 1 is pretty peaky, isn't it? Nope, there we go. Raise this up. Whoa, too far. Take that back to 0 again. Just slide that one down. What does this do for us? I think I like that a little bit better. So this was before, and that's after. Be nice to be able to pull that down a little bit, but I'm not going to worry about it. Great. All right, so we've got our 6 slots. We will save this as left move EQ. I'll just call it final. This is what we're saving here, all of this business. Great. Save. And we're done with that. So let's fire up MiniDSP and dump that in there. Let's look at the MiniDSP software. They call this little piece of software stuff a plugin. For MiniDSP or MiniDSP HD, there's a couple different variations depending on what you want to do. If you want to just use it as a subwoofer, if you're doing whatever, there's a couple of different routing options. So I decided the one that I want to use is the two-way crossover advanced. That does everything that this is going to do. There's another one, I think it's just two-way crossover or two-way advanced, maybe two-way advanced, 2x4 advanced maybe. I don't know. But this one seemed to do exactly what I needed, so this is the one that I downloaded. When you order a MiniDSP, they'll send you a card with a serial number on it, and they'll let you download this once. You enter the serial number, it'll give you the link to download it. So make sure that you're picking the right one, because if you pick the wrong one, you got to spend $10 and get a new license for one of these. So I'm using the two-way crossover advanced. So the first thing we want to do is we want to sync it to, we want to connect our computer to it. So you hit this little guy here. And we're going to restore to default. That will load just the default settings into MiniDSP. If we already had this loaded up and ready to go, we would want to pull the stuff from it. So you would do the synchronized one, but we'll just do restore to default. And it's loading. Please do not unplug. Great. Oh, doing more. Okay, successful connection to the board. Bloop. So how this is set up is it's input gain. It has inputs 1 and 2, and then it has outputs 1, 2, 3, and 4. So they've broken this out so output 1 and 2 are attached to input 1, and 3 and 4 are attached to input 2. That's great for what we're doing because we're just going to be using output 1 and output 3. So output 1 is going to be our left speaker. So the first thing I want to do is I want to go into parametric EQ. This is incoming. So it comes in from the outside, but we want to put it on this output 1. So let's bypass that. Go into your crossover, bypass these. This is where we're going to set it. So we'll go output 2, we'll just bypass it for the heck of it. And then we'll do the same thing on this. Parametric EQ, crossover, we'll bypass all of that stuff. we'll leave that one, and then we'll bypass this one. Great. So we're not going to mess around with, we can actually set 6 points on this incoming one. On the crossover, if you're doing a subwoofer or something, you would use this. But this is what we're interested in. So we're going to do an import REW file, and it's going to set these frequency points for us. So we'll import that. So we'll select our left move to EQ final, open. So this is the setting it's going to put on our EQ waveform. We're lowering the bit on the lower end. We're giving it this little peak here on the high end to sort of even that mess out. That's basically it. That's all you need to do. So I'm going to move the camera back over. We'll do another reading, and we'll see if it matches our predicted. Okay, let's start our noise and do our measurement. Okay, so let's look and see how all of this worked out. So this is the EQ settings that we were just playing with. This is the measurement that I took. This is my target, and this is what it predicts it will be. We'll get rid of that one. That's what it predicts our measurement is going to come out looking like. Great. So this is that first measurement that we were basing the EQ on, and the one that I just shot looks like this. So that's pretty darn flat. So this little peak here at 334 hertz, it looks like this is sort of our baseline is basically 78, and this little bump right here is at 80.8, about 3 decibels. Not really a deal breaker. If I wanted to, I've used up all of my outgoing EQ slots on MiniDSP with that file that we made. There's 6 slots. I have my incoming on that side too. I could actually manually make an EQ curve in MiniDSP on that incoming to just target that and just dial that back a little bit. I may or may not do that. I think that's pretty good. I'm pretty pleased with that, actually. So now if one were lazy, like I often am, I could take the file that I made for the left speaker, and I can copy it over to MiniDSP onto the right side and shoot the room and see what it looks like. It will probably come out looking similar to this. Probably you don't want to do that though. Not all speakers are going to be exactly the same. One might drive the high end a little bit louder, a little bit lower or something. Might have slight variations. So waving this mic around is such a quick process. I would say do each speaker individually and then create a EQ profile for each speaker individually and drop that into the device. So probably I will do that. I'm just tired of messing around with all this stuff because I've been making a video and doing it for a long time. There's a lot of takes that you don't see, especially on this one. I really have been mush mouth today for some reason. Okay, so I guess that's all there is to say about that. This device, we can unplug it from the computer. It doesn't have to stay attached. So I'll move it around the back. Once I'm all done tinkering with it, I'll move it around the back and plug it into it gets its power from either the USB or from a little DC power port of 5 volts. So I'm just powering them off this old USB hub that I have, and that gives it enough power. So I can run both, the one for the Atom and for the Kali off of that little hub. Great, super easy. I guess I don't have anything else to say. So that's my two-part video. Hopefully I'll be able to edit this down so they're not so crazy long. I am going to continue the process of doing the review on the Kali Ion, my follow-up review on the Ion 5. If you hadn't watched the other video on what prompted all of this nonsense, is that my follow-up review was going to be to work on a track using only the Ion 5. So I'll use them for tracking, I'll use them for mixing, mix down and everything. So I did that. And when I took the mix outside of the studio, it sounded flat to me. It sounded a little dead, like it needed, like some of the high end wasn't there. And the EQ curve wasn't necessarily great because I had forgot to set the dip switches and do all the other stuff. So on this one, all the dip switches are off. Like I don't have any monitor adjustments. I wanted to run them just flat, and then we'll make the adjustments with MiniDSP. But I was going to do it originally with just doing the adjustments on the monitor itself, just to see what the monitor itself is capable of. So the fact that I need to put a MiniDSP in between my source and the Ion 5s, I think I said this earlier, don't take it the wrong way that this means that the monitors are incapable of producing a fairly good sound. They're not. They're not. They're perfectly capable speakers, but I do this on the Atoms. I do this on all the monitors that I ever use. Is I'll do a little bit of EQ finessing just to smooth things out. This is kind of what my Atoms look like when I ran them through my old EQ. But this is such a nicer way to go. Anyway, so I guess I'm going to stop talking. That's enough of this. So if you like the videos, like and subscribe, or don't like and subscribe. See, I told you much mouth today. I don't know what the hell's going on. I'm just going to turn this thing off.